Why, hello and good morning. It's Motivation Mornings with Marnie and Melissa. I'm Melissa Houston. I'm a health insurance specialist and financial planner here in Victoria, BC. And one of my favorite musicians is Alanis Morissette.
Interesting. And good morning, everybody. My name is Marnie Dangerfield, and I'm a wellness and intentional creativity coach right here in Victoria, BC as well. And I'm pleasantly surprised how much I'm enjoying co-hosting an online 7-day Connecting to Nature challenge.
And we have a super special guest today. We've been so lucky to have some wonderful guests join us lately. Today, we have the lovely Jane Johnston.
Good morning.
And what do you do, Jane?
I'm a realtor with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and I specialize in residential real estate. And what else do? I counsel people when they're making stressful decisions in their life.
That is very valuable.
And you have a show you do as well, don't you?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm the host of Vancouver Island Time, which is a podcast vlog, which can be found at vancouverislandtime.com. And we highlight local entrepreneurs, where they live, and what they do.
Awesome.
And they talk about neighborhoods. So if you're interested in different neighborhoods, it's a great introduction because those people aren't biased in purchasing or selling a home. They just love where they live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great to get the insider scoop.
And you were a guest once, were you not, Marnie?
Yes. Weren't you?
No, I have
not yet.
Not yet.
You were in Marnie's garden, surprisingly.
I haven't nudged you in a while on that one, Melissa. Oh, this is a good reminder. Okay.
Today we're enjoying this lovely video of inside Louvre, I'm probably saying that wrong, the Louvre Museum, Paris, Mona Lisa Part 1, France 4K visual tour posted on YouTube by Wanderlust Travel Videos. I thought seeing some beautiful art and some smiling faces might do us all some good.
Oh, that's lovely. Always love what you choose, Melissa. So I'll just go over what's happening here. We always like to start next. We'll go over our value statement, and then Melissa's going to share what's inspiring her this week. I'll share what's inspiring me, and then we're going to hand over the mic to Jane to share what's coming up for her this week and what she'd like to share. And then Melissa's going to share a financial wellness tip, which is, I think, going to be very timely, and finish us up with the contact information and the always motivating inspirational quote.
Yes, and if anyone who is joining us today, I see a couple folks, so hello and welcome. So lovely to see you. If you felt like letting us know what's
yes, please. We'd love to interact with you.
Yeah, I just typed in a good morning on the chat so everyone can find the chat function really easy if you're not that super familiar with Zoom. So feel free to share. All right, so I'm kicking us off today.
Well, should we do it? Our value statement.
Oh my gosh, yes, of course. How did I forget? Today we gather
in the spirit of possibility,
in support of community,
to encourage holistic well-being,
to empower our authentic selves,
to share appreciation,
to express compassion,
and to enjoy this gift of life.
Hey, sorry for that, everybody, because I can't seem to skip it.
I will be so wrapped by what you're sharing for your inspiration, we don't even notice.
So what's inspiring me? Well, I did not get the opportunity to go for a little walk out in some lovely gardens with Marnie yesterday. This was the original plan. So I instead took the opportunity to spend some time in my garden. I went outside in my backyard to reacquaint myself with it, because I haven't actually spent a lot of time back there. You know, it's the beginning of spring, and over the winter I generally don't go out there very much, and I haven't yet started spending time out there again. So it was really lovely to just go out and um, just be really mindful, to do the same sort of thing I would do when I'm enjoying gardens elsewhere, is looking around and appreciating all of the buds and all the new growth, and listening to the birds. There's quite a few different kinds of birds out there, and enjoying the clouds and sky. It was just a lovely time out there, and I'm inspired to keep doing that. I'm like, if I can't get out, enjoy the external world as much as usual, I'm going to really make the most of the situation by reacquainting myself with my own backyard. And I feel very fortunate that I have a backyard, because not everyone has one. Or I shouldn't exclude my front yard. I guess I can spend some time in my front yard. um, but yeah, that's what is inspiring, motivating me, is spending some quality time outdoors somewhere, and it really gave me an opportunity to leave the cares of the world behind, because I was just focusing on what was around me and the beautiful nature. So um, that's what's got me going.
Well, it may not surprise you that that just brings such joy hearing that. And it is so neat. It is an opportunity, like in your own space, to really reconnect to, like you say,
Yeah.
your own area. And really, like there's so much in a garden, even on a deck garden, or there's just, you can always be connecting with nature.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful.
It's positive and helpful in so many different ways. And um, so yeah, regardless of the weather, that's my new goal, is to get out there every day for a while, and quality alone time, quality time outside in nature. Yeah, it's awesome.
Woohoo!
And what about you, Marnie?
Believe it or not, the paper this morning. I had something else I was going to share,
Oh,
but then I looked at the paper this morning, and it was so wonderful to see. I mean, there's one thing that's maybe not good news, but for the most part, there's, and considering what's going on in the world, there's just wonderful news about um, our community donating. There's a rapid relief fund that the paper has organized, and I think it was in the first 2 days they raised $1 million locally. And there's a bid on a tiny tech firm that's helping local small businesses with a little bit of extra cash with 0% loans, and then another bit talking about how employers are cooking meals for their laid off restaurant staff. And it was just like, oh, there's just, it was just lovely to see good news, and that reminder that people are doing the best they can, and giving back in ways that they can. And it just really inspiring this morning.
awesome. I haven't looked at the paper yet, but now I'm actually excited to.
Yeah, but there's one thing that's not good, but for the most part, it's all pretty uplifting. So.
I haven't read the paper in years, I think, even though I advertise in it.
I see you in it. I always smile. Oh my God, it's Jane.
Heck, I get excited when I see Jane's sign on somebody's sign. I'm like,
I know. It's like, oh,
go Jane. Yes. So how about you, Jane? What would you like to share with us today?
Well, first of all, I always go for a walk every day with our dog. We have a lovely local park here in Camosun. We live on an acreage. So something you probably know about me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's down by the ocean, which I love. And our dog loves the fact that we can walk together with her, both my husband and I. She gets so excited. I've been focusing every day on the positive things that have been happening. I find a lot of people are following me and listening, I guess, for the positive messages. I think it's easy right now to feel a lot of anxiety, and really we choose the way we respond to things. So just it's giving me a lot of understanding on how my parents and grandparents, my grandparents lived through 2 wars. My mom and dad each lived through one. Just the tension in their lives constantly, and maybe how they made some of the decisions they did. It's made me realize about financially, not wasting money,
Mm.
um, and to make the most of the time at home. So I'm trying to come up with one thing every day that I can do. So today we're splitting logs.
Ooh.
I'm going to clean the windows. And then I started a thing called 30 and 30 things to do in 30 days in Victoria.
Mm.
So just a little video. So I did one about making banana bread the other day. I made a soup, and some walks that people can do without having to be close to others. Stuff like that.
Mhm.
So watch for that.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely want to include some links to Vancouver Island Time and any other resources that you have for people, Jane, in the comment section after we post the recording of the webcast.
Okay. I'm going to be doing a market update
Mm.
because I think people need to know things are still happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that. Maybe I do a quick update every day, so just so people know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's wonderful, Jane. All of that. That's so good. And yeah, to be able to pull out the positive and be sharing that, and because it is easy to go on to the negative in that, and sort of give that light that, like, oh, there is good happening, and these are things you can do, and being proactive and positive in that way. That's awesome.
I think also knowledge is a bit of power. Like
Mm-hmm.
people like to know what's going on. So, I'm posting information as well as positive notes. Like, putting the question out there, what are you doing today? So to give people a goal.
Mm.
Yes, absolutely. Wonderful.
I totally agree about the knowledge is power part.
Yes, and so empowering. Yes.
It's hard to make
Marnie, I
informed
think after this, a
decisions.
lot of people will be growing their own gardens.
Mm, good point. Thank you.
All right. Well, should I continue on to the financial tip now?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, Jane, before we go on?
I guess, if you see the opportunity out there where you could help bring awareness to somebody or something.
Mm.
We recently did, with Kathy Scott, we did a dinner for the people at the homeless shelter. So 11 groups contributed some money, and because I don't know if you guys realize this, but there's been a bit of pushback against Chinese restaurants.
Mm.
So they've been boycotted. So anyway, we all paid for dinner at our place.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. So there's lots of opportunity if people want to give back. If they don't have money, they can do time. There's organizations that need help.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people out there, like, for instance, I just sorted through a whole bunch of pencils and crayons and coloring pens for moms.
Mm.
And with another mom, we're just going to combine them put them in sterilized Ziploc baggies. And their kids we're going to make 5 sets of coloring books and pens and pencils for things for kids to do at home. So sorting through a whole bunch of stuff from when my kids were little that maybe other people can use.
Mm-hmm. That's a great thing.
I
Awesome.
love that. Yeah. Inspiring. Thanks, Jane. The ideas.
Mm-hmm. Talk about inspiring. My goodness.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, regarding financial wellness, there's a lot of stuff going on right now that I think people are feeling anxious about. There's a lot of people who are either not able to work or have had their work affected. As you mentioned, Jane, just Chinese restaurants alone, that's one area that is being impacted, but many people's occupations and businesses are being affected. So that can be stressful. And so I wanted to, again, share some information that will hopefully help them feel a little bit more empowered um, to improve on what's going on right now. So one of the things that is I've even mentioned before in a financial wellness tip, but it seems even more relevant now, is for your own personal situation, have a look at your ongoing expenses. So right now, a lot of stores aren't open. So people aren't really doing discretionary spending as much unless you're buying online. But have a look at what's coming out of your bank account automatically, what kind of subscription services and those kind of things that are happening. See if there's anything you can do without for a little while if you're feeling like your cash flow is, potentially being restricted in the near future from being unable to work or being able to work less. So have a look there, see if there's any ways you can save money for at least the near future until things sort of work themselves out and we get back to some sense of normalcy there. And then I also wanted to encourage people to keep up to date on the income assistance that's available to them. So depending on what you're
Melissa.
Something's going on with the sound.
Oh,
Yeah. Melissa.
it's happened to me every once in a while.
Goodness.
Oh, it's still doing it, eh? Let me turn my microphone.
You sound good there. Now you're back.
Unmute. How's that? Testing.
Testing. Yep.
Okay. Tell me again if it happens again.
Yeah, no, it came on so quick. Okay, here we go. You're back.
So yeah, keeping up to date on income assistance that's available to you. So depending on what your situation is, if you're an employee and you're getting laid off because your business is being shut down, or at least temporarily, there's probably going to be some income assistance from the government, from EI and other emergency benefits that are getting rolled out. And a lot of that is still getting worked out. The details of it are still getting worked out. So just stay on top of it. I'll include some links to some places for information when we post the recording. And I'm sure most people will be staying up to date on it. And also check if you do get sick, if you might have some personally owned disability coverage, if you own your own policy or if you have a group plan at work, make sure you check into eligibility for that as well if you do happen to catch the virus or any other illness. And lastly, I wanted to mention about researching details. So for instance, and you probably know some about this, Jane, too, about um, some of the assistance programs for deferral of taxes
Mm-hmm.
and mortgage payments, which can sound really good if you are in a really tight situation and it's the only thing that could help you, keep your cash flow going in paying the bills that you need to pay. But I would encourage you to really look at the details, because if you don't need to defer those kind of things, it might be in your best interest not to defer in the long run, as far as how much interest you have to pay and things like that. So really look at the details of that if you're considering that kind of assistance, or taking advantage of those kind of opportunities.
I have an idea for you.
Yeah.
Why don't you put together a Zoom call where people can connect with you and they can go over their credit card statements and see their recurring costs and
Mm.
talk to you about the value of those.
Mm.
So, like, for instance, I have a recurring cost for advertising in the newspaper right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm keeping it.
Mm-hmm.
They are charging less money for it, but I'm keeping it because I think for me in my business, it's essential to stay top of mind. And
Mm-hmm.
I can put out messages that aren't related to real estate right now into the public eye that might help people. So
Mm.
I just just I think they have to justify those costs to somebody else other than themselves. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. And I think that would be a valuable service to offer people, and then they would just get it done.
Hmm. That's a great idea. I'm certainly happy to do that if people would find that of value.
Hmm. Yeah, be
Hmm.
the sage on the stage.
Oh,
Yes. Yes,
wow.
yes, yes. I love that.
That's a cool saying. All right. Well, our meeting is actually starting to run out a little bit of time. So I'm going to go to our contact information. Here we go. Here we go. We love to receive feedback and hear your ideas about our webcast here. You can reach us at motivation.mornings@gmail.com. Our Facebook page is where we post the recordings for anyone who is not able to join us live on Wednesdays. You can find us at MM with MM there. And that's also really great for, as I mentioned throughout the webcast, we'll be posting additional resources in the comments section on there. So that's another really good reason to watch for our posts there. We have our Instagram, which is motivation_mornings_with_mm. And that's where we have the quote images and some reminders for when we're doing this live. So follow us there. And then there's our YouTube channel, which is where we actually post the recordings. If you do not want to write out that long address, I can certainly send it to you via email. And once you find us on there, you can subscribe, and then you'll always know when we are posting the new webcasts. And we're on to our quote image. So today we have: vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change, by Brene Brown. And that sort of spoke to me this week, because I feel like we can feel vulnerable when things aren't in our control, but there is some benefit to being vulnerable.
Hmm. And innovation is using the same resources and using them differently.
Mm-hmm. Yes, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jane, for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to have you and to hear your thoughts and insights.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I enjoy you guys.
And thank you to everyone who's online joining us. I hope you found some value and we'll go out and have wonderful, productive, joyful days in whatever that looks like for you.
Yes, exactly. Thanks so much. And yeah, inspired by those tips and insights, Jane. Thanks. And your wonderful shares too, Melissa. Thank you so much.
So happy. Looking forward to seeing you all next Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a good day.
Bye for now.